Welcome to a new video. This is the final output of our project. In this project, we are going to create pagination. Whenever you click on a new page, data will be loaded from the server, and you can also click on next and previous buttons. You can download this entire project. Link is in the description. Let's create a new React project using Create React app. Open project folder and run the project. You can see everything is working. Now go back to VS Code. Open app.js file. Remove all this code. We are not going to use any of this code. Now go back to the browser. You can see we removed everything. Now let's stop this project. Now go to Google and search React pagination, and the first result is React-paginate. Click on it and copy this code and go back to VS Code and paste it and click enter. This will install React-paginate in our project. Next, restart our project. In app.js, import React-paginate from React-paginate. Now we can use React-paginate tag inside our JXX. Inside this tag, we can add some attributes. First attribute we are going to add is previous label, and the default value for previous label is previous. Now go to the browser. You can see the label for previous page is previous. You can change this previous label to anything you like. Now go back to our project. You can see now our previous label is changed. Now go back to VS Code. Now I am going to change it back to previous. Next attribute is next label. Default value of next label is next. Next label is the label used in next page button. Like previous label, we can change this to anything we want. Go to the project. You can see the change. Now I am going to change it back. We got one more label left, that is break label, and the default value is 3 dots. Now go to the project. You can see the 3 dots here. Like the other two labels, we can give any value we want. Now you can see our break label is changed. Now I am going to change it back. Next attribute is the page count. It is the total number of pages that we are going to show in this pagination. Here the value is 15. You can see in our project the total number of pages is now 15. We can change this to any value we want. Now I am going to change this to 25. Now if you go back to the project, you can see the total number is now 25. Later in this video, we are going to change this value into a variable. The next attribute is margin pages displayed. It is the number of pages displayed at the start and the end of the pagination. You can see there are two pages, 24 and 25, at the end of the pagination. Now let's change this value to 4. As you can see, now we are displaying 4 pages at the end and the start of the pagination. Let's change it to 3. Next attribute is page range displayed. This is the number of pages shown in the middle of your pagination. Let's go back to our project and click on the break icon. You can see there are 3 pages between the break icons. This is the page range. Now let's change the page range to 6. You can see now there are 6 pages in the middle. Next we are going to add on page change event. Handle page click method will get called when user click on a page. So let's create this method handle page click. So now I created an arrow function handle page click. Inside this function, I am going to console log clicked. Next, go back to our project and go to console. When we click on any of this page, the clicked get logged on the console. This means handle page click get called. We can also get the page number from this function. For that, add a data parameter. Now instead of console logging clicked, console log data parameter. Now go back to the project and click on the page. You can see an object is logged with a key selected and the value as the number of the page. Next we are going to extract page number from this object. For that we can use data.selected. This will give us the page number as integer value. Now click on the page and you can see now the page number is extracted as integer value. Later in this video, we are going to use this page number to load data from our server. Next step is to add some CSS style for our pagination. For that, I am going to use Bootstrap framework. You can use your own CSS classes if you like. Now click on Get Started and copy this code. Now go back to our project and open public folder. Inside that, click on index.html. Remove all these comments. And between the head tags, paste the code. This will add Bootstrap CSS framework to our project. So we can use Bootstrap classes. Now go back to app.js and go back to Bootstrap documentation. In the left side you can see components. Click on it and click on the pagination. Then scroll down. You can see an example. We are going to use classes from this example. As I mentioned before, you don't have to use these classes. You can create your own class and use that. I am going to use Bootstrap classes. So let's add the next attribute, that is container class name. This is the CSS class name for the unordered list. So now go back to your documentation and copy the class name from UL tag. Here the class name is pagination. So add pagination here. Next attribute is page class name. This is the class name for each pages. So let's go to the documentation and copy the li class name. Class name here is page item. So copy that and paste it inside the single quotes. Next attribute is page link class name. This is the class name of the air tag. So go to documentation, copy the class name of the air tag, that is page link, and paste it inside this single quotes. Now go to the project. You can see the CSS styling is now added to all the pages. Next we need to add styling to both previous and next buttons. So the next attribute is previous class name. Copy this page item and paste it in here. We are using the same class name that we used for pages. Next attribute is previous link class name. We are going to use the same class name page link. Now go back to our project. You can see the styling is now added to previous button. Next we are going to add the styling to next button. For that we are going to use the same classes. So the first attribute is next class name and the value is page items. This is same as previous class name. Next we are going to add next link class name. It is also same as previous link class name, page link. Now go back to the project. You can see the next button also got the same style. Next we are going to add the same styling to the break label, that is these 3 dots. Now go back to VS Code and we are going to add the same classes. For break class name we added page item, and for break link class name we added page link. We use the same classes for all these buttons. You can see the break also has the same styling. You can also use different classes for these different elements. For example, you can give different classes for page, next button, previous button, etc. I use the same class for all these elements. To reduce the size of pagination, change the margin pages to 2 and page range to 3. We are going to add one more class. This class will help to highlight the current page. For that, go to Bootstrap and scroll down. You can see the active class. We are going to use this active class in our project. So go to VS Code. Next, add our new attribute, active class name, and give the class name as active. You can see now our current page is highlighted. Next, I am going to move this pagination to the center of this page. For that, add one more class to the container class name, that is justify content center. This is a Bootstrap class. Now you can see our pagination is now moved to the center. Next we are going to create a new state. The name of the state is items. The item state contains all the items in the current page. When user go to a new page, we will update the items. Initially the items is an empty array. So now we are going to create a fake backend. Then I am going to make an HTTP GET request and load that data into our items state. I forgot to import use state. So now I am going to import use state from React. Now we imported use state from React. Next we are going to create a fake backend. For that we are going to use JSON placeholder. You can Google JSON placeholder and click on the first result. Scroll down, you can see resources. These are all resources provided by JSON placeholder. We are going to use comments. Get request to this link will return all 500 comments. For our purpose, we need to split this into different pages. We can use underscore page as a query parameter and give page number as value. As you can see, page number 1 will return first 10 comments. You can also change the limit by using underscore limit query parameter, and you can give any value you want. Here I am going to give 20. This will return first 20 comments. Now if I change the page number from 1 to 2, it will return the next 20 comments, that is comment 21 to comment 40. So you can use this link as a fake backend for this project. There is also another method. Go back to JSON placeholder website and you can see json-server. This is the technology behind the JSON placeholder website. You can install json-server in your computer. So now I am going to show you how to install json-server in our computer. Scroll down, you can see getting started. Click on it and copy this code and go back to our VS Code and open a new terminal and open our project and paste that code and press enter. This will install JSON server in our computer. Next step is to create a new file db.json. This will act as a database for our project. So create a new file db.json in our project folder. So let's add some data into our db.json file. For that, go to JSON placeholder and we are going to use the comments. So copy the first 100 comments. Now go back to db.json and create an object with the key as comments and a value as an array. Paste that 100 comments inside that array. Main advantage of using JSON server is that you can add your own data. On the other hand, if you use JSON placeholder, you cannot use your own data. All the data is provided by JSON placeholder website. You can see we can edit the name or use an entire different data. Now we need to run our server. For that, click on alternate ports. We are going to run our server in port 3004. This is because we are already running our React project in port 3000. So we need another port. So copy this code and go back to VS Code. Paste it inside the terminal and click enter. This will start our JSON server and it will create resources for us. Localhost 3004 / comments. The comments is coming from the object key. Localhost 3004 / comments will return all 100 comments that we saved in the db.json file. Here also we can use underscore page as query parameter, also underscore limit for number of contents. It is similar to JSON placeholder because JSON placeholder uses JSON server in its backend. If you want to use your own data, use JSON server, which can be easily installed in your computer. Next step is to make an HTTP request and add the response data into our item state. For that, we are going to use useEffect hook. Anything inside this useEffect hook will run only once when user opens this application. Inside useEffect hook, we added getCommands method. This is an asynchronous method. Inside this method, we are going to fetch the first page, which contains 12 comments, and use the response data and update our items using setItems. Item state now contains first 12 comments. Next, we are going to call this getCommands method. I forgot to import useEffect. Now I am going to import useEffect from React. UseEffect is now imported. Next I am going to console log items. Now go back to the project and go to console. You can see array items with 12 comments. This is the initial 12 comments. Next we are going to display these items in our project. For that we are going to loop through these items. We are going to use Bootstrap classes to style each items. These are all Bootstrap classes. So let's now extract details from item. First we are going to get ID from our item. Items.id will give us the ID. You can see now all the IDs are now printed in our program. If we look inside db.json file, each comment got an ID. That is what we used here. Next we are going to extract email. For that we are going to use items.email. Also we are going to extract comment by calling items.body. You can see email and body as key value pairs. That is why we used items.email and items.body. Now we can see all details, ID, email and comments. We can see there are 12 comments. This is because we given the limit 12. We needed to add few more Bootstrap classes to correct the alignment of our comments. Okay, now let's format this code. Now let's go back to our project. You can see now our comments are properly aligned. Next step is to load new pages when we click on the pagination. Go back to VS Code. We already know handle page click method will be called when user click on the pagination. We are going to use this method to fetch new data. Before that, we are going to create a new method. Name of this method is fetchComments. FetchComments will receive current page as its parameter, and we are going to use fetch function to get the current page data from the server. You can see the page is current page and the limit is 12, and this function will return the response data. Next step is to call this fetch command function inside our handle page click. For that we need current page. So let's create a new variable current page. If you remember, we already console logged the current page data.selected. So we are going to use data.selected. We need to increment it by 1. The reason for incrementing the data.selected is go to the console and click on any page. If we click on the page 3, it will return the value 2. If we click on page 1, it will return 0. It is always returning the value 1 less than the current page. So we need to add 1 to get the current page. That is why we added 1 to data.selected. Next, call fetch command with the current page as argument. We already calculated the current page. Use that current page. Next step is to update the item state with the new data from the server. We are using await inside this function, so we need to change this function into an asynchronous function. Now we click on the second page. It is showing ID 13 to 24. If we click on the third page, it is showing comments from 25 to 36. Now let's click on the next button. You can see our new pages are loading. So we need only 9 pages to show our 100 comments. So next we are going to calculate total number of pages required to show our data and set that to our pagination. If you scroll to the top, inside use effect hook, you can see the API call for the first page. Here we are getting also the total number of comments. Here the total number of comments is 100. We are also getting back it inside the header. We need to extract the total number of objects. res.header.get xtotal count will return the total number of objects. Let's console log this total number of comments. Go to console. You can see the total number is 100. So we are able to extract the total number. You can also see a warning here. I forgot to add key in our map function. So let's go to our JXX and add a key attribute here. And it required a unique value. So we use item.id. Now reload our project. You can see the error is now gone. So let's add one more comment to our db.json file to check the total number is correct. Give id 101. Now reload the project. Total now changed to 101. So everything is working. Now let's create a new state. The name of the state is page count. We will save the total number of pages in this state. Initially we are giving the value 0. Now scroll down. Instead of giving the page count as 25, we are going to change it to page count state so we can update the count later. Now we are going to update the page count. Inside getComments function, we are going to call setPageCount. To calculate the page count, we are going to divide total count by the limit. Here the limit is 12. So we are going to divide total by 12. This will give us the total number of pages required. You can see now the total page number changed to 9. That is the number of pages we required to show 101 comments with each page containing 12 comments. Let's console log total divided by 12. and you can see the value is 8.41666, but our pagination is rounding it to 9, so we don't have to do anything. But to avoid any further error, I am going to round this to next big integer. For that I am using math.cell. Now reload the project. You can see the value is now changed to 9. Now let's add this to our set count. Also the total page count is still 9, so nothing is changed. Okay, now let's comment out this console log. Next thing we can do is we can change this limit to a variable. Let's create a new variable limit and add the initial value as 12 and replace all this 12 with our limit variable. Benefit of doing this is we can change the limit at the single place and it will be changed everywhere. You can see the total page now changed to 11 and each page contains 10 comments. In the beginning of the video, I told you we can use JSON placeholder instead of our localhost. So let's try changing our localhost to JSON placeholder website. I already told you there is one advantage using localhost. You can use your own data. Now you can see all these 500 comments are coming from JSON placeholder website. And the total number of pages is now 50. So this is our final project. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe, like and share this video.